All right, so your legs are really securely adhered to your wooden boxes, both of them. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the tinned tape that I gave you guys. I gave you each an extra piece in case you have problems if you've never done this before. It's just like if you were going to solder. Excuse me. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your tape. If you're wearing new rubber gloves, it's the best because you won't get any oil on this tape because you don't want to get the oil from your skin on the tape. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start from the back at the top. Actually, the bottom, where the lid is. And just along that line, I want you to lay your tape. Remember to wear your rubber gloves with this because you don't want any oil from your skin getting on this tape. It's kind of a pain. So I've gone back about 1/2 inch with the paper from the tape, and I've just laid the tape down at the edge of the wood. And I'm going to pull the paper as I go, and I'm going to tape lay it down right at the edge. Don't go over the edge. And I'll press it down as I go. This tin tape is kind of difficult sometimes. It's not because it's so thick because it has solder on it. You can get this tin tape at glasssupplies.etsy.com. It's about $37 or $40 a roll. It's not cheap. But I do like using it for people that don't solder, and I'm not in the business of teaching soldering, so I just kind of do that on my own. So I've laid it down as nicely as I can, and once that's laid down, I'm going to go ahead and go over where it comes up on a lip, where the hinges are on the box. Just go ahead and keep laying it, and I want you to lay it evenly with where you started at the base. Once you've laid that on there and pressed it lightly, we're going to burnish it. Okay, now we're going to start burnishing our tape down to our box. What we're going to do is we're going to take this burnishing tool, and starting at the back, where we started our tape, you're going to put your finger down on the top part of the edge, and I just want you to use it to really push down that tape really well. You want to be kind of a lot of pressure. You want to have a lot of pressure. Apply that, but be careful because you don't want the tape to rip. Now, the tape is starting to buckle, which is fine. I don't care. I'll just let it lay, and if there's a crease there, it doesn't matter because we're going to blacken this. It's going to look like soldering. Now, I want you to go ahead where you have the hinge where it's kind of curved. Go ahead and burnish that down. It'll tear where the hinge is. You can let it just tear right there. It doesn't really matter. It'll just fit in there. Anyway, I want you to do this all the way around several times. Like I said, if it starts to bunch up or go forward, just let it wrinkle. Just press it down. Make sure it's pressed down. It doesn't matter if there's a wrinkle. You can go up and down once around, and then you can go lengthwise once around. The point is you want it to be really adhered to that wood. Once you're done with that on both boxes, we're going to come back and blacken that. All right, everybody. So now that you've burnished your tape down nice and securely, I mean really securely, especially the edges, really tight, because you don't want your blackening patina to get down under that tape or it's history and you got to take it off. And you know, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do it. You can just leave it and glitter the whole thing. It doesn't really matter. So if something happens and it doesn't work out for you, don't worry about it. Just glitter over it. It really doesn't even matter. Or you don't even have to blacken it. You can leave it tinned, and over time, it's going to tarnish anyway. So it doesn't really matter. You can blacken it yourself now, or you can just leave it and wait over time, and it's going to do it. Okay, so once we've done that, I want you to get your bowl with your Novacon in it and your little brush that you're using, along with your rags and your alcohol, because we're going to basically do the same thing we did with the brass, except we're going to do it really quickly, because you don't want this blackening sitting on this tape, because you don't want to take any chances. This brush is really history. You just don't want to take any chances that it's going to get underneath. I'm just going to use the tip of my broken brush. Anyway, I'm going to go pull it off of the wood if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and just blacken it really quickly. Try to keep it off the wood, but it doesn't matter if it gets on the wood, because that's going to be covered. Wipe it off rapidly. Go ahead and do this all the way around on both of your boxes. And when you're done with that, we'll come back. All right, now that we blackened it and wiped it off, we're going to do the same thing with the alcohol as we did before. I'm just going to use a towel, and I'm going to go around, even on the wood, because it's going to dry out the alcohol. The alcohol is going to dry out the oil. See, it's going to come off. And let it go onto the wood as well, because it'll take it out of the wood. It's going to go all the way around. Once you finish this, you might want to take your burnishing tool to it again, just to make sure if it's coming up in any places, because it'll come up to no fault of yours. And just let that dry for about an hour, and we're going to come back and we're going to paint.